Before we begin, I'd like to take a very delightful moment to express our deep gratitude to those who made all these concerts possible. In particular, and firstly, Dr. Richard Carr. He's the shy one in the middle on the trumpet. Your tenacity and vision started this whole thing. So audience, if you like what you hear today, make sure you thank this wonderful man, and especially his wife, Colin. Thank you. We'd also like to thank the Evergreen School District, Matt Griffin, if you see him around, he's back there with the video camera. Thomas Friedman up in the booth, and our amazing team here who are filming today's performance. Their hard work allows our concerts to be online on YouTube, and we are so grateful for that. So if you've missed any of our concerts these past 20 years, you got some binge watching in the future. And also a huge thank you to our sponsors, Beacock Music, Music World, and Morale Inc. To our incredible volunteers, ushers, supporters, and donors, thank you. We could not do this without your dedication and support. The Swiss board, as we call it, Swiss, so I don't have to say Southwest Washington Wind Symphony every time, are both current and past members. We'd like to thank them, and especially our volunteer musicians that you see on the stage, who come to us from all walks of life in our community. A few quick reminders though. Please silence your cell phones and be mindful of others during the concert for their experience. Please enter and exit only between musical numbers. And our fire marshal asks us to avoid standing in the aisleways and the entryways as it is prohibited. If you're having trouble finding a seat, as I see some of you might be, look to our ushers. They are here to help you. And now, our legacy of music. What is a legacy? That which is left and lives on. That is what we're celebrating today, an idea that became a reality and the people who kept it going. Every one of us on stage is here because we want to make something beautiful happen and have you share it with us. Dr. Carr's vision sparked that desire for something special in our community, and we are so very glad he did. Thank you so much again. Well, our first conductor of the evening for our 20th season, we have 5 tonight, and these are conductors that are all part of our legacy. And one of our very first conductors was Tim Siess, who currently is a conductor here at Union High School. Tim helped establish our vision of high-quality musicianship for the group, and he strived to keep it, and we've strived to keep it these past 20 years. Tim's expertise has been felt from high schools to colleges in both bands and orchestras. Tim has been actively advocating for high-quality music education for the past 40-plus years, and we are all better for it. So please join me in welcoming back to the podium Tim Siess conducting Liberty Bell by John Philip Sousa. I just love a good march every now and then. Our next conductor, and we're thrilled to have him once again. He's one of our founding conductors here at Siess, and his name is Mark Lane. Mark Lane grew many of his high school programs that he touched into powerhouses of musical excellence in both Oregon and Washington, including right here in Evergreen. The legacy still lives on, as you can see. Many of us here are either former students or colleagues. A raise of hands, if you will. Yeah. You might see a trend. Well, with that resume, Central Washington University came calling, but not before he and Tim helped establish the group you see before you today. Please welcome back to the podium, Mark Lane, conducting Caccia and Chorale. I just love that end. It just kind of lulls you right back in. I love it. Okay. Please come on in. I'll look to our ushers. They can help you find a seat. Our next conductor, well, according to him, Mark, whom you just saw, is also responsible for his presence here today. But by his own right and unflinching dedication, Sam Ormson is both an amazing musician and an exceptional educator, right here in Evergreen School District. Yes. He's at Mountain View High School and has been there for over 21 years, about the length of time this has been going on. It's not that his ensembles are amazing, but it is that his students respect him and the work he puts in, and they work for him because of it. So to conduct one of my favorite pieces to play or hear is First Suite by Holst, conducted by our very own Sam Ormson. Need a breath after that one. That's a good one. As you can see, that's why I like to play that one. That's a really fun one to play. Well, it is my delight to introduce our next conductor. And if you've been coming to any of our concerts in the past couple months or years, you know this conductor well. Dr. Murphy is a strong proponent of new and diverse repertoire for wind bands, and he truly brings that to us here at Siess. His constant pursuit of new literature for us keeps our musicians wanting more and looking forward to every rehearsal. He's focused not just on the music, but Dr. Murphy always cares for the musicians and the audience like he's hosting a guest party at his house. He is now a consistent part of our Siess family, and we are so lucky he keeps coming back, even with his busy schedule. And you won't believe how busy he is. But please welcome Dr. Patrick Murphy to conduct Rusty Buckets. Okay. Our next conductor is Dr. Lewis Norfleet. He is a conductor that other conductors hold in very high esteem. His commitment and experience started at a very young age, and he never seemed to stop growing. One bit of trivia is that he opened this very high school along with Mark Clausen that you heard on saxophone just a moment ago, and that legacy lives on now through Tim Siess and Adam Morell, who are also here tonight. Dr. Norfleet has an uncanny knack for hearing everything in a piece of music because as a composer, an arranger, and a conductor, he listens constantly. From college to high school and from director to director, Dr. Norfleet's name and reputation precedes him. Not one to shy away from a challenge, his selection for you this afternoon is a remarkable piece and indeed reflects the way he thinks about music and the love for this band he helped foster. Please enjoy Heart and Voice as conducted by Dr. Lewis Norfleet.
Thank you for coming today. I just wanted to say thank you to all the members of the ensemble, both today and through the years here. When I was teaching at Union High School, I got to come in every Monday night and work with this fabulous group. And you're so lucky to have this in your community. It's very cool. But for me, this group holds a special place because I got to come in and learn from all these incredible musicians here. And then honestly, you know, they taught me things that I could take back and share with my students too. So I'm just so grateful for all the years that we spent together. And thank you for being here today. And it's the greatest honor to conduct this group again. So thank you.
Yes, that was fun, I have to agree. Well, I just have a few announcements and welcomes while we set up for our final song. And it's sad to say that, but there is another concert coming. We would like to take time to welcome some special guests we have in the audience today is Cub Scout Pack 610 and their parents, as well as their pack leader, Sean Tay. Where are you? Right over there. I believe they've been studying, doing a music unit in their troop. Is that correct? Nice, awesome. This is a great real-world example of where music can take you. Awesome work. And also, on the 3rd of March of this month, our president, Jessica Wager, attended a city council meeting where Mayor Ann McInerney-Ogle proclaimed that March is Music in Our Schools Month in the city of Vancouver on behalf of the Southwest Washington Wind Symphony. So let's give it a clap for that. And last but definitely not least, we have a special gift for you. Just like Oprah, everybody gets something. Everybody gets something. Please, not a car, not a car. But when you do leave, there is a commemorative sticker of our 20th season. And please make sure you pick up yours today. So supplies are not too limited, but they'll get you covered. They'll get you covered. And so, our last few pieces are going to be conducted for us by none other than our Dr. Patrick Murphy. And our next piece is called Skyward Spirits, and it's going to take us on a wonderful journey, and please enjoy. And now we've come to that portion of the show where I get to ask you a question. The only way we've been able to do this and keep this going for 20 years is by your attendance, but also your tax-deductible donations and contributions. And if you wish to help us build our future for the next 20 years, we are a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, and our staff and musicians volunteer their time. Funds are used for auditorium fees, website expenses, music, insurance, because you gotta have insurance, publicity, recording expenses, guest musicians, and of course, our wonderful conductors. Case in point, if you would like to help with the purchase of our print music, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution designated to the purchase of that music for our next concert. For example, $500. So for example, it costs $400 to purchase and ship 4 pieces from our last concert, and $500 to rent and ship music for another single piece of music from another concert. But many of you wonderful patrons have donated generously and to the purchase of this music for our future concerts. And like them, a donation of any amount may be given to our ushers after the concert or mailed to, if you have a pen available, but I'm not sure if you do, P.O. Box 1483, Kalama, Washington, 98625, 1301. And if you didn't catch that, you can ask any one of us at the end, and we'll give you that information. And let's all thank, a big thank you to our Southwest Washington Wind Symphony musicians. And any of our former members and conductors in the audience today. So if you've ever performed with us, please, if you're brave enough, raise your hand. Right over there. We have so many musicians in this area, and we have a lot to thank for the people that you've seen behind me today. We'd like to thank our board members, Dr. Richard Carr and Dr. Colin Shun, Jan Boulay, Pete Boulay, and our ushers, Beacock Music, Music World, Morrell Inc., Evergreen Public Schools, and Video Productions, and again, Thomas Friedman and Matt Griffin. Thank you very much. Our final piece today is Armenian Dances by Alfred Reed. This piece is just as much fun to listen to as it is to play. And like any music from any culture, be it Armenia to Lesotho, it represents a legacy that lives on throughout the world. Our legacy to share that with you for many years to come. Please enjoy Armenian Dances under the direction of Dr. Patrick Murphy.